Hello and welcome to another episode of Who Knew in the Moment, the podcast. I'm your host, Phil Friedrich, and today I'm honored to have Ben Weiss with me. Ben is the founder of Syntilay. He's also just like a serial entrepreneur, and he's a host of the podcast Legends and Leaders. And one of the things I think you're going to hear about his journey is how important connections are, but also how important it is to take the shot. So, Ben, thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
Absolutely. So to start your journey, you're a very entrepreneurial person. You've founded and started many different businesses and we'll just say activities. So where did that come from? Did you grow up in an entrepreneurship household? Was it just something that intrigued you? Talk a little bit about getting into the entrepreneurial journey.
Sure. I mean, the reason I got interested in being an entrepreneur is because of this aspect of, freedom and control over your
Mm.
destiny and your life. And
Yeah.
when I was young, I saw, what some people could do that were entrepreneurs and how much of an impact they would have that would be positive on the world. When you looked at what Steve Jobs did and how he changed the way we communicate with each other. And he didn't do that being an employee. He did that as a leader, as an entrepreneur, and building out a vision that was his and making it into a company. And alongside you see what guys like Elon have done and Jensen and Michael Dell. I mean, there's so many incredible names, and these people have these, amazing companies they've built that have just changed the way we do things as a civilization, as a species, and as a society. And so, I wanted to be somebody who was a change maker, and I wanted to see how far I could go. And I thought the best ability for me to find out what my full potential is to be an entrepreneur and to take some chances and bet on myself. And that's kind of what I started doing. I didn't have an idea in college, like let's say like Mark Zuckerberg did, and I didn't
Yeah.
have the ability to just drop out. Um, and I just waited till I had an idea. And that was, after college, it was like you got to either go down a traditional path and get a job. And, that's fine. I respect people that do that. But I want to do something different. So it was like, you got to start something. And the NFT space was really big at the time. And I thought, let me try to build something interesting here. I like digital collectibles. I've always liked traditional collectibles. And that evolved into let's try to do something with footwear and digital collectibles. And then it became, wow, there's really this massive opportunity to back content creators with their own shoes. I mean, these people have major audiences. They can sell lots of different items, but they never get the chance to be like the athlete, like treated the same as the basketball athlete does. So how do
Yeah.
we level the playing field? And that's where we are today.
I love it. So, as you started to get down the road of shoes, obviously there's the mega shoe brands, right? And naturally, if you could understand how to, do what the mega shoe brands did, that might be a good starting spot. And so, you send a random LinkedIn DM to an individual that happened to be a mega shoe brand person. So talk a little bit about where the inspiration to reach out and what that looked like, because I think a lot of people say, "Oh, that would be great," but they don't take the action to do it.
Sure. So, I mean, I was looking at like who's built great shoe brands that would be willing to help me. And
Yeah,
I was aware of what's happened with Reebok and success of Reebok. I always wore it when I was young. And, I
yeah,
saw that Joe wrote a book on his life called Shoemaker. And I read Phil Knight's book and I read his book. And it's like, wow, this journey he's had is incredible. His grandfather created this spiked running shoe and his family inherited the company. And he's like, I'm just going to go do my own thing. I think we're not competing properly. And just started trying to go to running clubs and got them to, take his shoes and start to wear them. Some of the people there and had to be innovative because the shoe stores wouldn't take them in. So, I'm like, I gotta get this guy on my team. And I just reached out to him, through his website and said, hey, I'd love to have you, come and be involved with me in this. And we believe that creators deserve their own shoes. We believe that there's a major opportunity to make a technology first footwear brand when every area is getting smart in the world. Footwear really hasn't changed in a long time, and we need to make
yeah.
it smarter. And there's a lot we could do for people there. And he liked the idea, and his wife Julie did as well. And I mean, they're really wonderful people. And I just spent some time talking to them even more and said, "Hey, you gotta join me in this." And they're like, "We're happy to do that." Once they joined me, I shortly after got Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, who I also just reached out to cold online and said, "I would love for you to help me with this." And his team really wanted to do it, and some other people too. So I think that the cold outreach is a very underrated tool. A lot of people look at the online world and social media, and they look at it as like, I need to grow a following, which I think there's a lot of importance in that. But you can do a lot without a following, with a great
Right.
idea and with a lot of persistence. and that kind of gets overlooked today. So I would encourage any young person, any founder of any age, really just try to get somebody who's established in your space to be on your team that just wants you to win and wants you to succeed. And Joe and Julie are definitely like that.
I love it. So you've got the idea. Now you've got, the strong business acumen, the strong shoe acumen. And my guess is you're the workhorse in this, where you're eating,
Doing a lot.
sleeping, breathing, doing it all. But talk a little bit about, all right, I have these, different partners now, or, people that are on the team. Talk about the practical next steps, and then also just talk about your shoe creation and kind of the process that you go through to help people make their shoes.
Sure. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to capture the creativity of a lot of these really talented people and um, put it basically on a new canvas. Change the way that expression is done for them. So there's the easy route, which is, hey, you're a well-known individual or brand. Let's take your name, put it on a shoe, and design something that's cool. And you can do that, and it's fairly easy. But what we're trying to do is just really invent these brands in the category. Like
Uh,
how do we take what they're known for? How do we take what these creators are known for and capture that in footwear? And so we start by creating high quality concept artwork and coming up with the ideas together and listening to them and what they like to wear, and then we try to channel that energy into into just some really cool ideas that are just more forward thinking. And then we start building it out as a 3D model, and we let them give their feedback on that, and then they influence how the patterns and textures look and the shading of it. And then we get a prototype done and we wait to hear what they think. So, I mean, these creators are really making their own shoes and entirely new designs from scratch. This isn't just a bunch of templates that we've already had. So it's a very
yeah,
different process. And the cool thing is with AI helping to design, which is what we do with a lot of our shoes, and with 3D printing, we're able to make a shoe in a couple months and launch it from start to finish. And anytime somebody orders, it's print on demand and shipped to them. So that's the majority of the business, and it removes the biggest issues with footwear today, where it's like, got to store all this inventory. It's expensive. You have to commit to the inventory beforehand. You got to pay $2,000 to $4,000 for a mold. You want to do molds for
yeah,
size 6 to 13 for adult sizes. It's just so expensive, and there hasn't really been any major change to this model in a long time until now.
amazing. So as you kind of talk through, hey, we help, influencers or different people of influence create their own shoe. What's been your go-to-market strategy on this? I mean, is it still a lot of cold outreach? Is it, I know when we had connected the first time, I think you were in Dubai at a conference. So, is it showing up to different places, getting your name out there? Talk a little bit about what your, I don't know. I mean, not necessarily client acquisition, but maybe your partnerships or your brand deals have looked like.
Sure. So, I mean, it's a new category what we're building. So it's about figuring out how to structure stuff for this category.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's taken a lot of thinking, how we build this out. Because traditional footwear brands, what they're doing a lot, and there are exceptions to the rule, is they're taking existing designs and they're modifying them. Hey, you can change the colors here, put your name over there, different embroidery. And that can be cool and nice in its own way. But for us, we're building out new silhouettes. So it's just a very different approach. So we've had to think about it, and the structures of things have evolved and changed over time. But we've tried to provide the biggest profit split we believe in, is possible in footwear today to these different partners, because there's one piece of this where they can make their own design, but if they don't share in the profit like that, like it's their own, it's not the same. And so we're trying
Right.
to do it to really provide opportunities that they can build substantial footwear businesses, and it's theirs in every aspect of this. And now there's an opportunity for us to really scale this much more to retail that we're working on, and providing an experience where people can scan their feet and get custom shoes made at retail. And we're doing that right now in Times Square, in New York, which I think is the biggest update to the way footwear fit has been done in years. And so we want to really expand on that and then build this ecosystem and let these creative people do their thing, these brands do their thing, and just build more as a brand in general for Syntilay.
Amazing. Now, as you talk about, the scanning your own feet, kind of creating your own custom shoe, my imagination says, well, there probably comes at a cost, right, to be able to do that. I mean, anything you want to do one of one, or potentially one of very few, is going to have a cost. But I also know in the world of shoes today, there's a lot of shoes out there that cost $600, $700 a pair anyway. So
Yeah.
the concept of cost, I guess, is relative. So talk a little bit about, what your cost is to, really create that one of one experience for people.
Sure. So I mean, we are evaluating what even makes sense for this cost, right now
Yeah.
because we've tried to price it pretty competitive to the traditional shoe, which, doesn't do any of this custom fit experience
Yeah.
whatsoever. And that's fine, but I think that there's a bigger opportunity for us to scale this to more people if we're, better financially put in a better financial position with what we believe this should be, sold for. So that may be higher than where it is now. Um, but we've tried to really compete with the traditional model and offer something much better. Why would you buy a traditional shoe if you can get a custom made shoe that fits you perfectly? I mean, I wouldn't buy anything traditional, if
Right.
that's my option. So now it's really about finding the right price point, which we have an idea of where that is, and then scaling this. I mean, there's an opportunity for us to scale this to, couple thousand stores in the long run, and integrate into existing infrastructure and give people the ability to get custom shoes. And so we want to take this concept from one place in New York to, to globally available and change the way fit's done. And that's our big focus is let's bring this to scale. Let's make it, price that works. And that's it. Let's change the way people feel, people wear their shoes and give them a much better experience.
Amazing. So, as you're thinking about, growing, scaling the business side of things, what has been, one or two things that maybe you had a preconceived notion coming into starting the business that has just been radically changed
Yeah.
from actually, getting into the operations of it?
There's been a bunch of things. I think when you're dealing with physical products, it's a very new space,
Mhm.
for innovation, in certain areas. The footwear category, physical changes to the production methods has been very recent. Especially printed shoes have not even been a real category for a long time. It's just been an innovation story. It's, hey, we're a big brand. This is our 3D printed shoe, and that's cool, but it's not something that changes, the lives of consumers. And why would I buy a printed shoe versus a traditional shoe if it's just, more expensive and there's nothing
Yeah.
different about it really? It doesn't excite me enough. So, um, there's been a bunch of different hurdles around just making custom fit something that's available, building out the ability to take orders in and then actually ship them out in a timely way. Which is just
Okay.
kind of growing pains. I think that growing pains in general are just something that you hope to not have to deal with, but you always wind up dealing with them. Um, We've got great partners all around in lots of different areas, and I think that the biggest challenge for us now, besides the scaling of it at retail, is the visibility behind it on social media. I mean, we've done
Mhm.
really great with traditional media. We've got an incredible amount of attention, and we're fortunate to get that because the story is really incredible and it's amazing. It's a first of its kind experience, and now it's about educating consumers on that on social media, and making them aware of it in a fun, engaging, and way that adds value to their lives. And that's a big focus of where we're at today. So I think it's just about every day there's a new challenge. It's just about facing it and overcoming it. And you got to accept that that's a part of the business. Solving problems is going to always be a part of every business.
Absolutely. Now, having partnerships with Joe and Julie and then Kevin, my once again, I don't know them personally, but my guess is they've gone through a lot of problems
Yeah.
in their business careers. Are there, one or two lessons that you feel like you've really, been able to learn from them or, wisdom that they've imparted on you that's been super beneficial in this entrepreneurial journey so far for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I've learned from them. I mean, I've learned an incredible amount from Joe and Julie. And, Joe talks about just kind of remaining humble and kind of killing your ego and just
Yeah.
getting things done, and for somebody who's accomplished what he's accomplished, built Reebok from an idea to best selling shoe brand in the world, over 1 billion sales in a couple of years when they entered into the US, created the aerobics footwear trend, personally designed the Club C and the Classic. He doesn't have a big ego. He just tells me what he thinks and lets me make decisions, and he's just very supportive. And I think it's really cool to see that with how much he's accomplished, that he just remains true to himself. And I actually respect people more that are like that, because
Yeah.
I think it's like I think it's like just I don't know, it's just you know yourself well, and that's important. So that's one thing I've learned. I mean, I've also learned a lot about making shoes and how to design shoes to really have an exciting appeal to consumers. I mean, Joe's got this big principle of VizTech, visible technology. He's like, you can make the coolest innovation in the world, but if it just looks like another piece of foam under your foot, it's like who's going to go buy it? So we just launched a product called PulsePods. PulsePods,
Huh.
I believe, is the biggest innovation in footwear cushioning in the world right now. If you look at the kind of innovation periods of footwear cushioning, you've got the Nike Air, which there was air infused, these kind of capsules in your sole of your shoe, and you walk on them and it would release pressure. or just not, you wouldn't feel as much pressure because of how it's designed. You've got On with Cloud Tech, where instead of air being infused, it was air flowing through, and better management of how motion is when you move with air.
Yeah.
And that was kind of two different holes, a hole through each side of the foot in many different areas. And we're like, well, what if we can kind of build on both of those ideas of, let's make pods under your feet that have
Mhm.
different structures inside of them based on how much pressure you'd feel in those areas, and then relieve that pressure. So different pods under different areas with unique densities based on how much your forefoot would feel, or the back portion of your foot, or your heel. And that is a much smarter cushioning system. And the pods are partially hollow, so you've got the most amount of airflow possible in a shoe today, the first 360-degree cushioning system in footwear. So I think it's that VizTech principle that led to that idea of the PulsePod shoe, and I try to take a lot of what he says to heart and build on that.
Amazing. So, as you guys are, starting to build shoes and, do them custom one of ones, and then also, kind of creating lines for different influencers, have you noticed a certain area or arena of people that have been kind of the earliest adopters, or is it just widespread and, kind of
Yeah,
depends on the day?
it's a good question. I mean, we wanna back a lot of people that haven't been backed. So, like, if you
Yeah.
look at the footwear space today, it's signature basketball shoes, right?
Yeah.
And it's an audience that's been established because of what happened with Michael Jordan. There was always
Yep.
shoes for athletes, for basketball players, but, what happened with Jordan was incredible, and you wanted to be like Mike, so you would need to wear his shoes to be like Mike, and
Yep.
that was great marketing. And it evolved to lots of other athletes getting their own shoes. The difficulty with other sports leagues is, it's spike shoes you can't wear as a lifestyle casual product, when majority of sales
Yeah.
in the industry are lifestyle casual, even if they're athlete inspired. And, it's like kind of basically the footwear industry is like the athleisure trend. All this stuff made for athletics that people wear for casual. And, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. So, you have a lot of other athletes that have similar influence to basketball players that don't get a shot at footwear because of that. Um, and that's one thing. But we're like, why can't we just kind of move towards the third way? We saw what Kanye did before Easy imploded and all of that, and
Yeah.
unfortunate things he said, and what he did was really innovative. It was this idea of, you can have lifestyle appeal, not tied to performance, and sell shoes direct. And we believe the third wave is content creators, is
Yeah.
enabling these talented personalities that have lifestyle first appeal to make their own designs. So we think there could be 100 categories in that that work out well. We don't know. So our method is 1/100th of the cost of the traditional space. So we're going to test out, can somebody in the WWE sell shoes? Can somebody in the UFC sell shoes? Can a YouTuber, can a Twitch streamer, can a Snapchat influencer, can a Snapchat influencer in the fashion beauty space? Can a Snapchat influencer in the, you know, um, stunt kind of prank space? There's lots
Yeah.
of areas, and because we can test it, we will, and we'll find out what works and what doesn't. And that's our approach.
I love it. Now, once a person has created a shoe, is there a like online home that you guys have at Syntilay where, hey, I can log in and I can see that, Ben has created a shoe and I want to buy Ben's shoe? Or is that something where, when Ben creates a shoe, he's got his own website and then I'm going to Ben's website and it's just backdropping to Syntilay where that is the manufacturer? Talk a little bit about kind of how that operates.
Yeah, so initially when we started this, we only had it available on our site, and it was actually it was being hosted with our factory partner Zellerfeld for custom printed shoes on their site. That was just how we got up and running. We then moved it towards Syntilay.com. The whole experience is powered by this, it is built into the site. And after you order, you get an email to scan in, and then you just get shipped a pair of shoes. So that's what we did that's what we're doing now. But what's great about our approach is that for creators, one is we can have dedicated pages on our site built out for creator shoes. We tell the story behind their shoes. And some of these creators, the ideas they have are incredible. What they're building, like I'm seeing it now. Like, wow, I didn't think of that. Like that's so cool,
Yeah.
And we want to tell these stories. We want to dedicate screen real estate, to these stories. Then we can integrate the shoes for available for sale on our website. We can have the shoes integrate into their Instagram shop, their TikTok shop, their own Shopify site as well, where customers can order like any other item and it goes into our fulfillment to handle for them. So we want this to be for creators in every way we possibly can.
Amazing. Now, I have to ask, and I probably should know this, but talk about the origins of Syntilay and the naming and why we named it that.
So scintillate is based off the word scintillate, which means to shine. And
Yeah.
if you think about like why were people wearing the Jordan shoes, right? They want to be like Mike. They want to play like him. And there's this concept of like I want to walk in your shoes. It's
Yep.
for some of these really creative people. And our goal is to enable the young generation and or anybody who aspires to be like some of these individuals to feel like they can walk in their shoes and be one step closer to their dreams. So we want you to be able to shine in any direction. So we just spelled it differently and wanted to come up with a bit of a different way to spell it that we think would stand out. And over time, I think the name's gonna resonate with a lot of people. It's definitely different. It's a different name.
It's right. That's what allows it to shine, my man. I love that.
Exactly. That's where I see it.
So as you look at, the year ahead, obviously, developing, navigating the pods, that's an important, next step. What are some of the other areas that, you're really dialed into right now? And what are some of the things that we can be looking out for?
Well, the next big area for us, besides the pods and collabs, is distribution, is getting this out there much more. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of clever ways we're thinking about and how to do that. We think there's some really significant opportunities that don't cost much for us to get up and running, that we want to take advantage of. And that's what we're focusing on. Is like how do we make custom fit a way of life, not a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's we did proof of concept in New York. We have great feedback. I don't know if you saw Shaquille O'Neal's been wearing our shoes, in a
Yeah.
lot of different places and those are made custom to his size 23 foot. So there's people like it. Custom fit, I believe, is the biggest game changer in the way footwear feels. And I mean, I've gotten shoes. I've 30 something pairs of shoes from every brand in the world, and when I get custom pairs in, it just feels different because the entire inside is made to your arch height, your length, your width, your instep, the way your toes are shaped if you do it in person, the way your heels designed. Just feels much better. So you put your foot on that footbed, it doesn't feel just flat. It's really conformed to you. It's like a new orthotic like experience. So
Yeah.
it's about getting that, on the feet of more people. And how do we do that? That's retail, that's online, that's increasing awareness, and that's all we're focused on.
I love it. So for you, being in this journey and really diving in, what is, a word of encouragement to somebody that either is sitting in a corporate job but has always had the dream of going after their own company, or somebody that's in the dog days of running a business and it's like, man, I don't know. And we've all been there, right? We've all anyone that has a company, like you're in the day where you're like, gosh, it would be great to just say I work for somebody and not have to
Yeah.
have to do all these things. What's your word of encouragement to both sides of it? The person that's in the corporate life thinking about, going in their own venture, or somebody that's in their entrepreneurial journey and they're feeling the tiresome days of entrepreneurship.
Well, I mean, you have to look at the big picture. Like,
Yeah.
if you're only motivated by money, I mean, it's like, I don't know, like, how long are you gonna last? Like, I am motivated by money as everyone, else is, but I'm also motivated by we have the real ability to change the world. And I think that that's exciting. So, when it gets tough and when the workload is quite immense, you start to take a step back and think, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I think it's going to help a lot of people. I think that
Yeah.
the impact could be really huge and significant. And I think that's what keeps me going. And also, I mean, Joe likes to talk about this, the founder of Reebok. You just got to have fun. If you're having fun with it and you love it, you'll keep doing it. So I try to make
Yeah.
sure I'm having fun with it. I think for somebody who's an employee, at a company, and if you like it and you're happy with it, that's great. If you're not happy with it, try to build something on the side. I mean, I had to work two different part-time jobs to finance a lot of what I've been doing today. Um, because that was the only way to get it done. I just did it, and it actually wound up benefiting me a lot. One of the part-time jobs I was doing was with an SEO company, and wound up the CEO of the company wound up investing in me, and then now does all of our SEO stuff. So
Amazing.
yeah, it went from him employing me to him investing in me. It's a bit of a different relationship, but he's a great guy. So yeah, I mean, I think that things are just going to work out if you keep going forward. You got to just keep going forward. The biggest thing is to take one step at a time. Keep taking one step forward every single day. You got to just keep taking one step forward. You can't stop with that.
I love that. And, I think a big piece of it is, yeah, Do you wish that in year one you would have sold, 20 million pairs of shoes? For sure, right? But at the same token, it's like, hey, are we making progress? Are we growing? Are we expanding? Are we becoming more visible? And I think at the end of the day, if you have passion for what you're doing and you believe in it, but you're also having fun with it, then you can really get through some of those tough days as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
I love it. Well, Ben, where can people go to find you, find Syntilay, and start their custom shoe journey?
They can find us on our site, syntilay.com. And then LinkedIn, I'm everywhere, any social media, I'm there. But yeah, I try to be pretty responsive to people. You want to see what happens, different opportunities come from different places. And I would just encourage anybody, if you want to build something that's innovative, that's different, take one step at a time. I built the whole first website myself, just did it with like a website builder. We got major media opportunities we were doing just off of that. And it just, nobody said, "Hey, what's going on with your site?" It just, people just accepted it. So I would just don't be so like, it has to be a certain level. Just get it as best you can, get it out there. It's going to work out great.
I love it. Well, Ben, I appreciate your time sharing the journey of you and Syntilay, and excited to see all the growth. And we'll be doing this again here in 3 years when you're just continue to climb, grind, and rise.
Let's do it.